Awesome.
Excuse me on that. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody, come on in. We're starting a little early. Want to give people time to come on in, get their questions answered.
Yeah.
We should start calling these weather town halls, I guess, at this point. I
Yeah.
think this is good because this is starting to become very frequent. Let me pull down these levels just a little bit.
Yeah, and it's not normally this frequent that we have events like this,
No.
but the fact that we have had a couple, back to back, I'm glad that we have the opportunity to kind of take this time to explain things, and 'cause I think there's a lot of different variables that go into these winter weather events, and I think it's good to have some clarity on why you know it takes some time to zero in on certain information, including snow totals for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to everybody watching, we got Grant Skinner, Elizabeth Gardner. Welcome in, welcome in. We are live, by the way, and so go ahead, get situated, get set up, and we haven't gotten any questions yet. Again, everybody, welcome again to another weather Q&A. Wanted to. As always, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
Getting queued up and everything. This is fantastic, everybody.
I just ran in.
No, you're good. You're good, guys. Again, if you guys are watching this, like and subscribe. We have another winter weather Q&A. We got more winter weather. We were just here last weekend, and now we're back here again this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We got Grant Skinner. We got Elizabeth Gardner. Thank you guys again for giving me some of your time as well,
Yeah,
giving
of
the
course.
community's time. We got a couple viewers waiting for everybody to get on in.
Yeah, let's just do a little recap of what's happening this weekend and what's different versus last week and what we're scratching our heads about.
Yep.
And all of that. So it's the similarities are lots of cold air in place and then a low developing off the coast. The differences are it's a lot colder, and this low looks like it's going to be in the right position to give us a whole lot of snow. But we're scratching our heads on where we're going to see the heaviest precipitation totals. So we were waiting until today, so we're 48 hours out to put out our numbers.
Right.
And so we're going 3 to 6 inches across the viewing area. And there's likely to be a band that sets up somewhere in the state that could give us some, higher totals, maybe 8 inches, 10 inches. But there's no guarantee that that happens in our viewing area.
Yeah, and this is something I discussed with the entire team early this morning in our 3:40 a.m. call before the early show, and then something that I think we both talked about during the shows this morning. These areas of low pressure can be thought about like a tropical system. They have bands of moisture that come off of them, and it's really hard to predict exactly where those bands are going to set up until you get really closer to the event. And even closer to the event, it's all a matter of, again, where that band of moisture ends up setting up, and then if it sets up further west and then moves east, you could have widespread snow or rain if it's a tropical system, or it sets up further east and it stays east, and then we don't really get much of it. It's so the difference of just maybe 50 to 100 miles can mean big differences. I mean, probably even smaller mile amounts can mean big differences in snow totals. So I don't think until we really get pretty close to the event, we won't have a good idea of exactly where that heavier band sets up.
Snow is so impactful.
Right.
If it's rain, yes, we can have flooding with tropical systems, but timing out a specific band just isn't that important. But with snow, if you get, 3 to 4 inches versus 8 to 10 inches, I mean, that's a big impact. And so we're doing everything that we can to let people know where that's going to be, but it's just not possible. The other thing that is different with this storm is the other one, the low pressure system was developing kind of along the Gulf Coast, and it moved across a lot of sensors, and there was a lot of data collected, went into the computer models. So, the forecast, especially as we got, 24 hours out, was getting better.
Right.
And this one is just going to kind of form in the Atlantic and boom, start dropping snow on us. So we're not going to have as much time to watch it, which will also be more of a challenge.
Yeah. And
we got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you guys are ready. All right, we got N8 out of Durham. A lot of online meteorologist nerds with access to models are leaning on the NAM and saying no snow for Raleigh. Is that model usually right?
I'm not a giant fan of the NAM. It's a
Yeah.
much older model, and the technology in the newer models just seems to be better. The NAM is good at a few things. One of the things the NAM is good at is a pattern that we call cold air damming. This is not a cold air damming pattern. So, I'm not even looking at the NAM.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at the latest NAM. I'm sure now with the most recent NAM that's been put out, it will probably go into Saturday now, and we can probably take a look at what it's putting out for us. But with almost every single model besides the NAM and probably our in-house model putting out cold enough air where it's just going to be really, really hard for us to get rain. And you look at our highs, even our highs on Saturday and Sunday, and our lows. I mean, it's not it's not really. I mean, you're gonna have that cold air at the bottom, obviously, so that's anything else is gonna freeze over. But even that warm layer has not shown up in global models and everything leading up to it. So I don't think it's as likely. Could we have some mixed precip at the start of the event? That is possible, but I think this is going to be a majority snow event based off of everything that we've seen so far.
Yeah, it looks so much less likely that we see a mix than it did with last weekend's storm.
Right. Absolutely. So I think we're waiting on some more questions, guys. If you're watching this, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you. This forum is really for you guys and the community, and we want to make sure that you guys have a platform to get your questions answered. We have another batch of snow. What makes this different from last weekend to this weekend? Obviously, last weekend was a lot of ice. Now we're getting snow. And I know last weekend you guys were talking about how the sleet warmed up a little bit. There's a little bit warmer air in the atmosphere, which is why we got sleet, correct? Mm-hmm. And then now we're projected to get a lot more moisture and snow. What's different from last weekend to this weekend?
A lot more cold air in place than there was last week. So even though we'll have some warmer air that will push into that, it's cold enough that it will probably change it all over to snow instead of... So if you can imagine, the cold air wins this time. Last weekend, the warm air won. So battle between the two. Looks like cold air will win.
Hopefully no tornadoes with that.
Shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be. No, definitely. Grant, you want to speak on that?
Yeah, I think that, last week we were a lot more on the fence about the precip type just because of the location. It was so, close. Is the cold air going to come in, and where is the low going to track? It was right up against each other. So up into the event, we were still kind of going back and forth and teetering with those lines of, are we going to have a snow ice mix? Are we going to have sleet? Are we going to what are we going to have? And then right before the weekend, the sleet and the snow started to slowly creep back in, and then we ended up having a mainly sleet event. And we didn't have much freezing rain at all, but then areas back to our west had the freezing rain. So some places still got affected by it. We had a slight difference this time with how cold it's going to be and how deep that cold air mass is going to already be, settled in. I just don't think we're going to have as much of the sleet to deal with. I mean, or freezing rain or sleet.
Yeah, and just moving things ever so slightly makes such a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at what happened in Nashville. I don't know if people have seen the pictures, but I mean, it just destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean, they are so many trees, just so much damage in Nashville. At one point, our models were pointing to that. And finally, right at the very, very end, one of the models said, "Oh, wait, no, maybe it'll be sleet." And, at that point, you're like, wait. Is it really? And sometimes that can be hard to believe. So we really pushed that, ice storm message to the end because, we certainly felt like we had a really, really good chance of having that happen. And we were just lucky.
So we got 3 questions in queue right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. We love to hear your questions. Keep them flowing in. Drop your name, your location, your city or your county, and your question. We'd love to know where you guys are watching from as well. All right, so first question up from Quinn. Some models are showing more snow in the west and east, and Raleigh missing out on hours of precip. Do you see this as a likely scenario?
Well, I mean, I think there's a whole bunch of scenarios out there right now,
Yes.
And
A little bit like Doctor Strange and Marvel.
Yeah, right.
Right. I think we have. Maybe there's some dry air that does get pulled in, but it's kind of like where's going to be the really heavy snow? Where's that dry air going to be? The models just aren't that good to be able to tell us that. It's sort of like in the summertime, you wouldn't expect that we could tell you there's going to be a thunderstorm over Avon Ferry Road in Raleigh, or there's going to be a thunderstorm over Benson. I think everybody knows the science isn't quite that good. That's sort of the same ask, where's the dry air going to be? Where's the heaviest snow going to be? It's just impossible to know right now.
And that's why you'll see on our snow totals map, our totals are pretty conservative, given what some models are showing, and maybe some other information you've seen all over, like on social media and stuff like that. It's pretty conservative because we want to say, okay, in general, how much snow could we see? And then we've been messaging, hey, if you get that heavier band of snow, then you could have a more significant total that really differs from, an area just to your east. Like, let's say, again, this is hypothetical here, the heaviest snow band sets up over Raleigh all the way down through like Smithfield, down through, Fayetteville, like all the way through there. That's kind of like the location where the band sets up. Well, you could be over in Rocky Mount just to the east and have 3 to 4 inches, while the heaviest band sees 8 to 10 or something like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There could be some big differences there depending on where the band sets up. So I think there is a possible scenario where we have some drier air on part of it for a brief period of time, and that could mean lower totals. But I still think in general, everyone is going to see snow, I think, at some point. It's just a matter of do you get a heavier band, and then if you have a little bit of a dry slot, you might have slightly lower totals. I would not be surprised if with this event you see all these sporadic numbers all over the verification chart, where you have like a crazy total in one place, and then you look east, and it's like. It's the same thing with the heavy rain event, like we saw with Chantal. I mean, that's actually just thinking about that. That would be a good example. We had a heavy band of rain that set up, and that brought some pretty serious flooding to Chapel Hill.
8 inches of rain.
Yeah,
and everybody else got 3.
Yeah, it didn't get near as much. Yeah. Raleigh had a good bit of rain, but not near the amount that some other areas got. Southern Pines also got a lot of rain. And so you think about it like that. I mean, these bands of moisture set up, and when they kind of have this. What we call a training precip, it kind of goes over and over again over a certain area, you can have some higher totals. So think about it like that. In general, 3 to 6 inches, but we could see some higher amounts.
All right.
That's a good analogy.
Let's keep this train moving. We got Troy out of Durham. Are we going to get missed in Durham?
I don't think anybody gets missed. No. Like Grant was saying, our forecast is 3 to 6 inches. And so I think that's going to cover us generally, except for where we see that heavy band set up. And that band might not even set up in our viewing area. It's just way too early to tell. The models, every run that comes out, are putting that band in a different location. So there's no consistency on where that's going to show up. I mean, something like that is super hard for the models to pick up on, and be accurate about. And so, that's our guidance. And so the best messaging that we have is what we're putting out there, 3 to 6 inches widespread. And then somebody might get some, crazy totals like 8 inches.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I just dropped my coffee, guys. I apologize about that.
You didn't spill it, though.
I know, right? I was a little quick. JOS, he has 2 questions for us, and we'll come back to this. Sounds clear. There we go. Thank you guys for checking out the audio. I need a little help on that. So are the latest runs showing any MESO scale, mesoscale?
Oh, mesoscale.
Mesoscale banding potential that could cause local higher snowfall rates. And he was also wanted to know, are we expecting heavy snow all at once, or will it come down gradually through the weekend? Also, JOS, thank you so much for watching.
Good questions.
Drop your county where you're watching it from. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. So that's what we've been talking about, those bands that are going to set up. So absolutely, in this particular setup, we're going to have a heavy band of precipitation that'll be wildly different than what everybody else gets. But it's just not going to be possible to know exactly where that is. Not today. If maybe tomorrow, right before it starts, the models start to get consistent about the placement of that, we will let everybody know right away. But the best thing for now is it's going to happen somewhere, but we're not sure yet where.
Yeah, I think it's important to take, especially when we get into tomorrow and we start getting closer to the event and we start to see, okay, even if we start to see a location and we let folks know, hey, this is where we're seeing that possible heaviest band. I still would be cautious of saying, okay, just because the heaviest band's sitting up there doesn't mean we are guaranteed to get crazy amounts of snow, because we could see a change quickly. But yeah, I think if we see any changes with like consistent guidance, we're always quick to be like, hey y'all, these are the trends we're noticing. That's why I like those new now next graphics that we build, because it's really, if there's something fresh, we've got it for you right up front, and that's usually the first graphic that we show in the mornings and the evenings. So make sure to be watching, because we'll always show those.
Jalen, what was that second question?
Oh, second question. All the snow at once, or will it come down gradually throughout the weekend?
It looks like gradually through the
yeah.
weekend. Yeah, it's going to start Friday night, probably before around midnight, depending on where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's likely to be pockets of heavier snow on and off during the day on Saturday. And then end Sunday, maybe right around sunrise or so, is the way it looks right now.
Okay, love it, love it. We'll keep it moving. We have Carlos out of Goldsboro. National Weather Service has put out a map out this morning showing the potential for 10 inches in some areas.
Yep.
Do you really think that could be possible with this storm?
There's a possibility for higher totals. That's why, we mentioned earlier, like there are other maps that are out there, Weather Service, on social media and stuff like that. They're probably showing the potential. They're usually snowfall potential maps. Like, hey, there's a potential that if we get these heavier bands, we could see this much snow. What our forecast map is, what we think in general, how much snow we'll see. And that's why we put the little note about the heavier band, because there's a potential we could have higher amounts if that heavy band sets out over the area. But we just aren't certain about where that heavy band sets up. I think probably the National Weather Service map is saying if the heavy band sets up anywhere over the viewing area, you could get as high as this much snow. That's why we've been stressing, like, hey, if the heavy band sets up, we could get a lot of snow. We really could in some places. Does that mean we'll have 12 inches in every spot over the area? Probably not. I just don't think that's, unless it's a huge band that like just charges right through the area, then maybe. But that's why you're seeing that potential. That's the snowfall potential. If we have enough moisture and the band sets up the way, it could, then yeah, we could have some locally higher amounts like that.
But it's, like we've been saying, it's so hard to tell exactly where that band is going to set up that I feel like it serves people well just to know that everybody's got a chance around 3 to 6, and then some may see, something like 8 or 10 or some higher totals.
Right.
That's just the way it's looking right now. But it doesn't look like everybody's going to see that. So that's why we went with, the idea of here's what everybody's likely to see somewhere in this range, and then be on the lookout for some heavier bands.
Because you don't want to be there like looking at, you see 12 inches and you're like, oh, I'm going to get 12 inches of snow. And then you get 3 and then you're like, wait, how did I not get a foot of snow? I thought we were supposed to get a foot of snow. So we wanted to be as conservative as possible, to be realistic, honestly, about what model consistency is showing. And this is us looking at like a ton of different models, input from the team yesterday, and
day after day after day.
We had a call early this morning, and we talked about it again whenever you got in the morning. And we are going through multiple different rounds of like looking at models to make sure that it's in general the most accurate guess as of now.
Love it, guys. We got a question from Tanners and Vic. Travel question. Supposed to be flying in Saturday to Raleigh. Will we be able to get around Saturday and Sunday driving, or stuck in a hotel if we make it?
It kind of depends. So if you have a 4-wheel drive and you're an experienced snow driver, then you might be okay. If you're not renting a 4-wheel drive car and you're not used to driving in the snow, then I'd say you're stuck in a hotel.
Yeah, stuck in a hotel.
Yeah, because I'm one of those people that like I have only driven in one snow event. It did not go well.
Sounds like a story.
But I learned from it. I drove on a bridge that I shouldn't have driven over, and there was ice left over from that snow that had fallen. And I just was inexperienced with that, and I wasn't thinking about the fact that part of the road it was an interstate. And then when you think interstate, you think, oh, the interstates are cleared off. Well, the bridges are hard to clear when that ice forms on the surface of the bridge, and then you've got cold air flowing both above and underneath it, and that ice stays in place, and it can be really, really dangerous. So 4-wheel drive is needed. I don't have 4-wheel drive in my car, so my plan is to stay put here. That way I don't I'd rather not risk it. If you again experienced, I know that there are probably other members of the team that are probably more experienced with driving in snow, and they might feel more comfortable driving home, and especially if it's not too far away. So, which makes total sense.
Yeah, so I have a lifted 4-wheel drive,
Yep.
I should say high clearance, not really lifted, high clearance 4-wheel drive vehicle, and I lived in Colorado, in the Lake Tahoe area in the winter, and then in Washington State. So I've lived probably 5 or 6 years in very, very snowy places.
Yes.
So so I'm going home.
Yeah. Ready, absolutely. And actually, I'll pick up a question about that. 2 questions. JOS878. Talk a little bit about your timeline, your guys' timeline in terms of prediction. How confident are meteorologists about the 3+ inch prediction? Could totals be higher? And then we have one specific inquiry from you, Elizabeth. People want to know what happened to your wrist.
Oh,
and are you okay?
All right, sure. We can get. We'll do that one last.
Okay.
Not that it's the last question, but so we've been talking about the 3-inch totals. We feel confident that almost everybody should get around 3 inches, and then beyond that, that's where it gets a little trickier. Yep. Some people will get 6. Some people could get 8 to 10, or not in our viewing area. So there's going to be a band of snow that sets up somewhere in North Carolina, and it might be in our viewing area or it might not. And we just don't know, and we don't even know if we'll be able to tell. Even as it starts. Maybe once it's going, we'll be like, oh wait, yeah, here it is. The band is setting up in our viewing area. So you want to check back. You want to watch us on TV. You want to keep up with all of our platforms. As this changes, but be prepared for at least 3 inches, and then everybody has the chance of having higher totals, but not everybody will get higher totals.
Yeah, and I think consistently over the past probably 48 hours, maybe 24 to 36 hours, especially when we've been looking at the European ensembles, they put out percentages for what's your likelihood of getting 1 inch of snow, 3 inches of snow, 6 inches of snow. And we like to look at that a lot because when we see trends with that gives us a good idea of, okay, are we going to see a good bit of accumulating snow in certain spots? And the 1 inch of snow is like at 100%. And I think it went down very slightly when I did the 9 a.m. show, but it was like 100 to 96%. Like, okay, we're going to have 1 inch of snow, most likely. And that the pattern's favorable for that anyway. Now 3 inches of snow is closer to like, I think 75 to 80% as of late. Then you get it to 6 inches. That's whenever it's closer to like 45 to 50%. That's why I didn't feel super confident with going ahead and saying, hey, 6+ inches out the gate. Because I don't know, I felt that a 40 to 50% chance, like it could happen, it couldn't. That's
It's
hey,
almost flipping a coin.
It is. It's flipping a coin. And I felt like 3 to 6, given the percentages and also the location of where forecast models have been putting the heaviest snow totals, which has primarily been closer to the coast, actually. That's why we've been kind of going the 3 to 6 for our area. And then if you're like far east, like Tarboro east, like back towards Kitty Hawk and like the coastline, then you could see some even higher consistent totals. It all depends on where that heaviest precip sets up and the cold air and everything. The location of the low is going to be so key. I mean, if it's off just barely, it's going to make a huge difference, just like it made a difference last weekend.
Yep.
Except we're going to be much colder than last weekend. That's why we're going to be seeing it mainly snow.
People would like to know what happened to your wrist.
Yes. So I just had a little surgery on my wrist and on my arm, just little maintenance. I had some pain in my wrist, and I had sat on it for a while, and I was like, I just need to get it taken care of. So they did a little magic, and it's healing up, and should be good as new soon.
Well, we're glad this isn't the NBA, and we
Right. Exactly.
Elizabeth Gardner.
She's not in the IR. We're good.
2 weeks injury reserve. Just everybody, Elizabeth is okay. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you. Everybody is. I can imagine everybody's very grateful for you guys donating your time, having this Q&A. We're forming a little bit of a community here. If you're watching, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be back here again tomorrow, 11:05. Again, same time, same place, same operation. As we get closer, you guys will have specific totals, right? And then you guys will have more information as well. Let's knock out more of these questions. We'll be on air for about 5 more minutes. So guys, get your questions in. Let me scroll up right here. All right, Carrie in downtown Raleigh just wanted to come on and say thanks for to WRAL, all we do to keep us informed, to keep the community informed. Hey,
of course.
Hey,
Thank
no
you.
problem, no problem.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Tanner's and Wick from Wyoming. We love snow. I'm from the Midwest. I love snow, so I'm kind of excited about this weekend. Okay, let's move on. Smooth P. I am an hour north of Raleigh, North Carolina, and Henderson, North Carolina area. I see the totals are different from Raleigh. Why is that?
Well, right now we're just, broad brushing. Everybody's going to see 3 to 6 inches. That's our forecast. Now, there are a lot of forecasts out there, so depending on what you're looking at, you're going to see different things. But that's our forecast today is 3 to 6 inches. We might tweak that a little bit tomorrow as the system, is almost upon us. But that's where we are right now. And then the caveat is somewhere there could be a band of snow that's heaviest. But we can't tell you it's going to be in Henderson. We can't tell you it's going to be in Raleigh. We aren't sure, but all we can say is there is the potential for a heavy band to set up higher totals.
Okay, all right. I'm going to skip around a little bit right here. Okay. Grant, JOS878, he wants to know where you got their suit from.
My suit.
It's a very nice suit.
It's Joseph A. Bank. I primarily get my suits from Joseph A. Bank. Not a plug. They do not sponsor me or anything. Not a plug. It's not.
We're open to it.
They are. I feel like they have always had nice suits, and they're in a good price range. So I've always got them from there.
All right, love it. We got an edit from Treehouse 6786. Would love to know where you're watching from as well. He added an edit to his question. I know y'all said that the snow won't come until midnight, but some models say it could come at 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Am I correct?
So we said, sometime between. What did we say? I don't know. We said earlier. But
Yeah,
anytime during the evening.
Yeah, I don't think we said a specific time necessarily.
Yeah.
We might have, but generally, back half of the day on Friday. That's when it will start to move in. It'll start as probably a little based off of what I've seen with both high-res models, both the HRRR, if you look at forecast models, HRRR, and then we have in-house, we have through our graphic system, Baron. It's the 3K model. And using both of those models, it looks like there could be some precip starting in our northern spots in the afternoon. But I think the more significant snow moving in will be like midnight beyond. It's just that we could have some precip that starts on Saturday, on Friday. So
if you need to know, when do you need to be in place? I would say by sunset, as long as you're, where you need to be, where you're hoping to be for the whole weekend. As long as you're there by sunset, you should be good.
Should be good. And Treehouse also, he had a question about the difference between last week and this week. We touched a little bit about that earlier. Go ahead, just rewind on this live feed. We have the DVR setting, so you can rewind a little bit about that. You guys want to take 30 seconds to talk about the difference between last week and this week?
We can make it super simple. Yeah, it's all about the temperature. So we'll be a lot colder, so that should keep everything snow.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Morpheus, would love to know where you're watching from as well. Hearing about a dry slot for Raleigh, ? Also Treehouse is watching from Raleigh. Appreciate you for watching.
Thank you.
Make sure you subscribe. We'll be back here again tomorrow as well. If you guys have any more questions, that's for everybody. We love you guys as well. Hearing about dry slot for Raleigh, ? From Morpheus. Would love to know, I guess, more context a little bit, but is there a dry slot?
So there could be some drier air that gets pulled into the system, but it's sort of like, where's it going to be drier? Where's it going to be wetter or heavier? It's just really hard to say. So this particular system is going to have a lot going on with it. Instead of just being like a regular low that comes across the country that has very uniform precipitation within it, this is going to act, it's not a tropical system, but it will behave a little bit like that because it's a coastal low. So it can wrap some dry air in. It can wrap a lot of moisture coming in off the coast. So it will it'll be just a little bit more of a dynamic situation. So it'll have some bands of heavy rain, or I say heavy rain, like a tropical system, heavy rain, but heavy snow coming in. So it's not going to be, a uniform blanket. It's going to have waves of energy coming in.
We saw that blanket this past weekend. There was like a blanket of freezing rain that was like from parts of Texas all the way up through Mississippi and Nashville, Tennessee. And then you had the band for us that was like a sleet, sleet snow mix. Then you had rain at the coast. Like there were these like very defined, almost, I mean, I would say pretty defined areas of where certain places got certain kinds of precip. I think with this, it's going to be mostly snow for North Carolina, but then you'll have for varying totals. That's why we, again, put that range as conservative, and then if we get a heavier band, expect higher amounts. So that's where you could see 6+ inches.
Okay, and we're going to end on this final question. We've been going live. Got to get you guys back for the noon. Carlos from Goldsboro again. How much snow are you both hoping for? I guess hoping is different than let's just talk about what's projected.
So we do have a term for that. It's called wish casting. So, I mean, I might wish cast a foot of snow.
Really?
Yeah.
A foot of snow?
Yeah, what would
I mean,
wish
if we
cast
saw
be?
a foot of snow, that would be my first time seeing a foot of snow
Really?
ever.
Oh,
Because
okay, snow is fun.
I've seen, I had a good bit of snow in Nashville at times, varying times. Of course, for Tennessee and also for North Carolina, you get 2 to 3 inches, and you're out of school for a while. We're kind of fortunate here, also not as, I guess, fortunate, but I know for the kids it's probably not the best thing. We are going to warm up by Tuesday a little bit, so that should help to melt some of that snow. But also, if we have 12 inches, it's going to take a little bit to melt, I bet.
It's real. When you get 12
Yeah.
inches, it's like that deep, it covers
That's
up
crazy.
things.
That would
Everything's
be
just like blanket.
that'd be unreal.
Also so quiet.
Pretty,
It's so quiet. I love it.
It's so pretty.
Sound.
But officially, we're going 3 to 6.
One last little joke of Smooth P. He asked that you stop punching computers. I know snow is hard to forecast. I assured him.
Computers. I've been punching.
That is so funny. I promise no computers have been harmed by this forecast. Our weather team is wonderful. Don't ask Grant as well. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back here again tomorrow, 11:05 a.m., answering your questions for Friday. Again, just come share this video with your friends. Share the live stream for tomorrow with your friends. Make sure you subscribe, like the video. Any other things? I guess if you guys have pictures of the snow, WRAL.com/report it.
Yeah.
That's how you get inside of the newscast. And if you guys want to be really involved, you guys really help push. You guys are the reason why we're able to do this. You guys are the reason why we have the forecast.
And we show those photos and videos as much as possible. Like during that whole snow event, I couldn't even count. If I had 50 hands, I couldn't count how many pictures we showed. I mean, we showed so many pictures, like through weathercasts, and also our News Plus team did an awesome job of putting out consistent packages. Lewis, Elizabeth Holmes, Grace Holland, they all were putting together packages and kind of these collections of all these reported photos and videos we're getting. It looked awesome. And so we love to see those things, because you'll also measure the snow or whatever precip we get, and on top of that, we love to see the pets roaming around, the kids.
So many pets.
The kids. So I know we got tons of pets for sleet and a little bit of snow.
Yeah, this is their first snow.
This could be snow, and so I'm like, man, get the pets out there, get them running around, and take a video of it.
Also,
we want to see
Greg
it.
and KD with that awesome News Plus team.
Yeah.
Also, when the stream is done, you guys can go watch that stream. That'll be next on the channel as well when this is done. Catch the latest forecast. You guys will see Elizabeth Grant on the noon. News Plus, we have national updates. Also, we're still checking the monks, even though they've crossed over into Virginia. We'll be keeping up with them. Yes, they're getting hit on every single front on this last part of the trip.
To get some snow.
On the last part of the trip. If you guys want those updates, make sure you guys go over there. Again, like and subscribe. We loved having you. Forming this community. We'll be back again here tomorrow, answering your questions also all throughout the weekend as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I think we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, sounds
See
good.
y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see y'all soon.